Hello, hello. Good evening, everyone. I first of all an apology, as this was meant to be done yesterday, but unfortunately, logistics and such forth meant that I had to kind of move this lesson to today. So I'll I can only apologise for that. Um, Friday's not an ideal, but next week it will be back on at the same time. Oh, hello, Bertie. Nice to see you. How are you, Bertie? So I'll begin with what the lesson is today. So today's as I titled it, is lessons from the gym, and it's extracting lessons of really about failure. You know, how to go to the point of failure and what the relationship with failure actually is. So um, it's kind of it's an important part of life that we have to negotiate, and so why not create not create a story, but why not use a story of something that I do every day, well, pretty much every day, every week, and extract the lessons from that. And so, like the previous videos that I've been doing, this will be another one of the same. So feel free to post any questions, any comments down, and I'll stop intermittently and um, and answer them. So please feel free to do that. So failure. Um, Before I go any further, hello Brian. If you're still watching, good to see you. The same applies to you. Feel free to post any comments down at the bottom. It'd be great to hear from you, and perhaps even sort of messages and things that you can share as well. So cracking on. So failure. So we've been taught and we've heard things around failure, quotes and things and so forth that we've been told. Failure. There is no failure. There is only feedback, and that's something that's learnt from NLP, or that's a very important, famous quote from NLP. If you follow that mode of personal development, then you've got to succeed we must fail more than anybody else, or we only learn from our failures, we don't learn from our successes. And these are all important quotes, and these are musings and things that may resonate with people, but the challenge for all of us is to take that seed, that quote, or wherever it may be, this story, and then apply it into our lives. And that very much is the challenge when it comes to anything like that. So this story hopefully will provide something along that lines. Hello Jackie, nice to see you. I'm just if you're going to stay, then I'm just sharing some life lessons of the gym, and lessons around failure. So I hope you stay if you can. If not, then it's going to be recorded for you to you watch a later time. If you have any comments at all, Jackie, please just put them down in there, and let me know. So the story that I'm going to deliver is lesson from the gym, and it's about the life and fitness, and I'll extract the lessons from that. So hopefully this will resonate with you. If you go to the gym, you'll be able to understand and see the connection between it, and then kind of map it over into your life. And also, it's also good while you're watching, listen to me speak, is to think about your own experiences of failure from any part of your life, and take the lessons from that, and see if you can apply it to your life as well. So have a play with that as well. But your experiences and your stories are far much more deeper than mine. So just bear that in mind. So I will start off. So I do strength conditioning classes. So I go to the gym and I lift specific weights and do exercise, and it's mainly to help running, increase power, increase strength, injury prevention, and so on and so forth. So I do things like back squats, deadlifts, chest press ups, and all sorts of other core work and bits and pieces. Hi Greg, nice to see you. I'm just delivering a message on a story from extracting lessons from about failure from what I've learned from the gym. It's just a little story that you could perhaps use. And so 8 weeks ago, I done what's called a max lifting test, and it's just a session where you for all those exercises that I do, I try and lift as much as I can, do as many reps as I can, and try and try. It's good. It's a good benchmark, and it's good to see your progression. So I do that probably every 6 weeks or so. So I'll explain. So for the purpose of this story, I'll use the exercise of what I do with back squats. And for those of you who don't know what the back squats are, it's the bar that goes. It sits like in a rack on pegs, for want of a better word. Here, the bar goes across it, and you got the weights on either side, and you going under it, and it goes across your back. You hold it like so, the bar across your shoulders. And you squat down, and you try and effectively like sit in a chair, and you go as low as you can, and then you come back up. I mean, you do that for as many reps depending on weight and speed, etc., etc. But back squats for me tends to mess me up the most because it's the one that's really screws with my head. Hello, John. No, I can't see you. What do I define as failure? Oh, it's a good question, Bertie. That is a very good question. What do I define as failure? Okay, I'll come back to that, Bertie. That's really good. I'll come back to that probably at the end, if that's okay. So where was I in my story? So so back squats tends to screws with my head the most, and because it's like the lower I go, the more I worry about not being able to get up because of the heaviness of the weight, and I feel like I'm going to injure myself if I don't get up. So that's the one that screws my head the most. So to counteract that, or make lifting a lot easier, I use the safety bars. So the safety bars are just bars of metal that are alongside you, and you have them at a certain height. So if you go down and you can't get up, you just lean forward and you just drop the bar onto it, and the bar doesn't fall on you. So that's simply what that's simply what the safety bars do. So it's a really good tool. What do you mean? To have. But yeah, so that helps with the injury worries. You also have to deal with like the little gremlins in your head that despite the fact that you've got everything safe and you can't hurt yourself, it's the part of the head that says, oh no, you can't fail. It's not good to bail out. You look stupid, and that sort of thing goes through your head as well. So and then that highlights something about what your relationship with failure is like. So it's important to address that, and that told me something. That was a very interesting lesson in itself. So what I would do between practice sessions would be to practice failing the bar. So I'd go down, and then I deliberately with a light bar, and I would deliberately bail out. And so I get used to failing, if you like, which is kind of a weird, which is kind of a weird way of doing things. But it actually works when it comes to when it comes to max testing, or when it comes to training in future. The first max testing I did was actually quite tough because I've never necessarily pushed myself to the limit before, especially not in that context, and that in itself was difficult to learn how to push myself and push your limits and grow through that. However, I done my second max test about 2 weeks ago, and we looked at me and my coach were looking at back squats. Before I go any further, hello Russ, if you're watching, good to see you. So I thought I've had sort of 6 weeks of continuous training, and I thought, well, I'd up the ante, and I'd take these safety bars lower. So whether it be normally, I'd take them just one notch lower, which was probably about a couple of inches. So I got that. So I got that extra depth when I went down. But before I started to do the reps and go through the max testing, I'd also do some practice failures before that as well. So I would also just give my brain a little cues and things with and I'd do it with a light bar just so I can get used to it again and get used to the feeling of failure, if you like. It was perfectly fine. So as me and my coach went through the program, gradually reduced the weights, added weights, reduced reps, and it got we went through the program, and on the last 4 it was like just go as long as you can, and we aimed for 4. So we done 1, 2, 3, and I just about lifted the bar up for 3. Just about could do it. I just about got over that point, which I knew if I get over that, then I know I'd be able to clear it. And I said to my coach, I want to go for 4. It's I just need to see if I can do it. And he was a little bit dubious, but I kind of had a feeling that I weren't going to do 4 because I was really on my limit. And so I've gone down and just my legs just went to jelly, and I went, ugh, that's it, time out. So I dropped the bar on the safety bars, and it just completely and I came out, and perfectly fine. I'd gone to my limit there, which was brilliant. So it was so I got a personal weight best in terms of weight and reps, and it felt good. I had evidence. I didn't think I could do it. I just went down there, and I had evidence that was my limit. So it was better than thinking about it. I had physical evidence. So in terms of that, I'll get on to and extract the lessons of failure. Before I go further, hello Matt, hello Arwell, how's Stuart? Good to see you. I'm just giving another lesson like I've been doing for the few weeks about lessons in life and lessons from extracting lessons from areas of life. And tonight's is about failure, how to push yourself to failure, and your relationship with failure. So feel free to comment or add your own stories if you have anything. Please post below. It'd be great to hear other people's and how you see those things as well. Thank you, Matt. It's very kind of you. Thumbs up. So let's extract the lessons. So lesson 1. Failure must be lived through and not understood. Only through living can you then understand it. And I take the quotes and the musings and the things that people have done through the ages, and whilst these things are inspirational and they're useful to listen to and they're great, they're intellectual, and I'll come to that in a second. They're intellectual, and so you must experience failure to really understand it, and then you can create your own meanings and things around failure then. I hope that makes sense. So thinking about failure is like it's only a fantasy, but doing it and falling down and then getting up again, that's where you create and you understand failure that way, is by doing it and through experience. You're not old enough to fail. You're never too old. You're never too young to fail, Stu. Just think about when you was young and you was learning to walk. You failed lots of times then because you just kept falling over, and then you just got back up. So I don't know. It's Bertie actually posted a good comment. He says define failure, and that is a really good question, and I'll address that at the end. So yeah, moving on. Lesson 2. So set yourself up for a positive fail. Set yourself up for a positive failure. So so a positive failure would be, say, creating good conditions and creating good conditions and experience for the right sort of failure. So screwing up and just conditioning yourself just to fail all the time is, I don't think, absolutely no use whatsoever. So you look at the squats, for instance. You look at, I've created the conditions of, I put in some safety bars, so made you feel a bit safe, and it was in the controlled environment, if you like. And if I bowed out, it was perfectly fine, but it was a positive foul. I went to the limit. I had my safety bars. I dropped out of it. It was perfectly fine. If I didn't have those safety bars, then I suspect I wouldn't have pushed or as gone low as I did, and probably imagined injuring yourself as well. So yeah. So hope that makes sense on that lesson. Before I go any further, hello Mark and hello Jackie. I'm just doing some life lessons and extracting the life lessons from the gym and just sharing it with you guys. So and it's about failure today. So I hope if you stay and ask. Hello Jackie, thanks for posting. If you've got any questions and comments, please post them at the bottom and share your own experiences of failure and what you think about it. It'll be good to hear other people's opinion. So lesson 3 would be to practice failure, and here is where you get good at failure. So you've created the right conditions, you've set yourself up, you're going after your goal or whatever you want, and some mistakes, failures are painful, and you're not very nice, and you think to yourself, well, why on earth am I doing this? But in every failure and every screw up is the seed of growth. So like I did with bailing out the safety bars, it was irritating to a point, and I thought a waste of time, but it kind of allowed me to get used to it. So practicing failure is very important. Like practicing bailing out. If you understand that metaphor, if I'm explaining it right. Change your relationship with failure would be lesson 4. Now, it is not often failure or the result that we get. It is often our relationship with it. And my friend and my coach as well, Richie Watson of Lifewell UK, always says, when I went on this retreat with him, and my other coach David Seville, he would good question, Jackie. I'll come to that very shortly. It is never the thing, but our relationship with the thing. That's his quote. So it's never the failure. It's never this. It's never that. It's what our relationship is with failure, and it's how we perceive it. So that's how he would define failure, I suppose. So here at the moment, ask yourself what is your relationship with failure like, and does it allow you to grow, or is it holding you back? Is it a friend or is it a foe? Do you see failure as an opportunity? Do you see failure as an end or a beginning? Perhaps the seed of growth. I don't know how. However you react to mistakes and however you react to something not going right, there's something there for you to explore. So that's feel free to play with that and ask yourself that. So you can only answer that yourself. So ask yourself, here now when you're watching it, what is your relationship with failure like? And last and not least, is lesson 5 would be test and lowering your safety limits and pushing your boundaries. Like I did with the safety bars, I just took them down a little bit, but to get there, I was practicing I was practicing at another level. So I got confident at one level and comfortable, and just lowered the safety bars, and that in itself pushes your limit. So you lower your own safety net, but you got to get comfortable first with the level that you are at, and then only then you can lower your level and push yourself. Because quite often the old adage of you must walk before you can run, that makes sense, and it's really overused, but people don't apply it in a practical way, and so people jump in the fast end. They want to do this very quickly, and they end up getting burnt, or they want this result really quickly, and they just end up getting burnt. So it's an overused and perhaps overused, and perhaps, I don't know, you people heard of it so many times they probably become a bit desensitized to it. So, but it makes sense, but you have to apply it practically. So that is it in terms of lessons. And before I move on to the questions, I'll just summarise very quick. Actually, no, I'll move on. I'll go for the lessons first. So I think Bertie asked was, what do you define as failure? Oh, that's a good question, Bertie. That is a very good question. I suppose true failure is quitting without ever giving your best. It's okay to stop something if something's not working. That wouldn't be failure. But I suppose true failure would be not even attempting it. Yeah, I suppose true failure would be to only think of doing it, as opposed to actually doing it. If you do the thing, then you've not failed. You've at least attempted it. But if you think about doing it, then you've not done it, and that's, I suppose, for me, that's failure. Not just having it, just thinking about doing it, as opposed to actually doing it, because you can't really go wrong. If you do it and you screw up and you don't get the result, you're gonna have a result of some sort. It will be the seed of growth, and the opportunity of growth will just be in that, and it will be the opportunity to do better. So I suppose that would be my definition of failure. To think about it would be failure. To do it is perfectly fine. Hope that makes sense. That's a good one, Bertie. You caught me out there. Jackie, is there a difference between a mistake and failure? I would probably say with that, it would be how you would perceive it, because a mistake would be something, I suppose, that you can recover from, where failure would be something that someone else would look at as final. So people would say, I've made a mistake. Yeah, no problem, I'll just brush off a mistake. I've got the opportunity to do it again. I've made a little mess up here, it doesn't matter. A mistake can be repaired. Where if someone was to say, I failed, they would have a lot more emotional attachment to failure, and therefore they would probably feel more bad about it. So it would really depend. It's a great question, actually. It would depend on your relationship with those two words and what they mean for you. So that's probably similar to what I was saying in lesson 4, is your relationship. How was your relationship with it? That's a good one. I might have to think about that a little bit more. Something doesn't actually come to mind at the moment, but I might post something in the comments afterwards and just mull on that a little bit more, if that's okay. So yes, good one. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you for posting. That's very good. And Bertie, thank you so much for posting those. You've got me some good questions there. Manny, hello Manny, nice to see you. I've just delivered a podcast on some lessons on failure. So I'm just coming to the end of it, and I'm just going to summarise now of what the lessons I think the lessons are, and then feel free to watch them back and post in the comment section. So if I just summarise, so lesson 1 would be to actually experience failure, not think about failure. So lesson 2 would be set yourself up for a positive failure. Create the conditions that can give you this positive failure. Lesson 3 would be practice failure. So practice failing. Get used to the feeling of doing things wrong, providing that it's done in a structured way, because we don't want bad experience, bad failure. That won't work. Lesson 4. Change your relationship with failure. How do you see it? How is your relationship failure? So as I was saying, is it the beginning or the end? Is it an opportunity? Is it this opportunity, the seed of growth in there? Think about how you define it, and think about how your relationship is when to failure, and how you react, and what you say to yourself when you do something wrong or you do screw up. And then lesson 5 would be lower your safety limits and push your boundaries. So once you get comfortable at a certain level, lower your safety net, and continue pushing your limits and your boundaries. So yeah, please feel free to share your stories, comments, and this will be posted to my live page. So, and I hope you've enjoyed the lesson. Hello Angelique, you've just come in at the end, so I'll be wrapping it up. I've just wrapped it up now. So I'll reply to any comments and things. Yeah, let's say this is just coming to the end. So thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for interacting. Thank you so much for your comments and your time. It's a privilege, and thank you very much. This is good. This is good learning for me as well. So thank you. And I'll see you at the next one, which will be Thursday, the 11th of January at 7 p.m. And I'll be there this time. So yeah, see you then. Take care. Bye bye.